Welcome into 5-Day Crypto. My name is Chase. I'm a level 1 CMT and full-time trader. Today we're going to look at a Chainlink price update. We're going to start off on the daily chart, then we'll zoom out to the bigger picture. We're going to look at some bullish things and maybe some not so bullish things. We want to keep you informed on both sides of the coin, and so you never get blindsided. So let's get right to it. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, follow us on Twitter, Telegram, Patreon for more content. So, how about let's start off with the bad. Let's do our medicine first, and then we'll get to the good stuff. Okay. Potential head and shoulders happening right now on the daily chart, right? We can see this. Yeah, right here. Okay, what would the target be? Here's the neckline, as you see my little line drawn right here. We're right at it right now. We've already broken through. Have we confirmed it? Technically, yes. If we reject here and make a new low, where's our target? How high could we possibly fall? How big could we possibly fall, I should say, right? So how to get those targets is you take a measured move from your high close, and you can just put it on closing price if you need to, make it a little bit easier, draw it straight down to your neckline, right? And then you can just grab that, and wherever you break it, right? You can be right there, right? Wherever your neckline is. So where's that target take us? Let's get a little bit more accurate here, right? Put it back on where we closed, right? That underside neckline, and that takes us to a potential target. Now I say potential because nothing is certain in crypto but uncertainty, and even though we have a pretty textbook head and shoulders pattern here, it doesn't have to play out. Where could we negate this? Could we fight this off? Yes. If we take out this high, right, 25.40, if you see prices above there, then we're great, right? Or really, if we could just close a couple candles above like 23, we would start to definitely fade this. Okay, but if we reject here, and currently we are, underside reject test of that 21-day EMA, right? If we come back down, and obviously if Bitcoin falters and stutter steps back to low 90s or something like that, this has a better chance of playing out. But the target here is right at the 200-day EMA and our previous, if we zoom out more, we'll see this in a minute, but this is our previous resistance support zone. So we're trying to hold this as support with the major moving average like the 200 there. That should hold. And this is a big if. Not saying that it has to happen or it's even likely to happen. But looking at the pattern, right, it has technically confirmed, right? If you're a pattern trader, you would you'd have shorted right here, right at the neckline after you close. Confirmation right there, right? Didn't break back above. So you'd have a short open with a stop, I would say just above this candle high wick, or if you want to be super safe, this high, and your target is going to be right there. So you'd come back in or put in a long or close out your short at that point, right? That's just how you do like a intraday trade, right? Or intra-week trade. This is probably could potentially take a couple weeks, okay? So that's the bad. How about the good? Do we have any good? Well, to be quite frank, the good is on the higher time frame charts, which is where you'd want to be. You'd want to look more sketchy on the short time frame than the long time frame. Okay, so let's zoom way the hell out on the weekly. Also, I wanted to point out that we have a Gaussian channel entered, right? Same time we confirmed this head and shoulders is we've kind of drawn into the Gaussian channel for the first time in a while. Last time we hit the Gaussian channel was way back in November, right? That was the last time we touched it, and now we're back again. Usually when you enter a Gaussian channel, it kind of holds you there for a little bit, no matter what the time frame is. Now, the shorter the time frame, the less meaningful. So we are on a daily chart. So take it with a grain of salt as for now, but we're right at the pivot point, right? If we're going to avoid this head and shoulders and a target of 16, around the $16 mark, the lower part of the Gaussian channel, the 200-day, this previous support resistance zone, we've got to do it today or tomorrow, in my opinion, right? Just based on this pattern, like we've got to get out of here quick. So we want to see a close today or tomorrow, ideally above 23. All right, so let's keep that in mind. All right, now let's go out to the weekly. Now, the good thing here, even though the Gaussian channel is red, is we are way the hell above it, okay? And not only that, but even the better part is we are above all moving averages, even with our drawdown here. We're at previous breakout zone, resistance zone, right? Previous high, Look at the 618 from the macro from the last cycle, right? We're right back to that. At the same time, we're holding above all moving averages, okay? So that is another, I would argue this is even much more of a signal for the macro of Chainlink versus that daily head and shoulders potential. We're coming down a little bit more. Here's that zone, by the way, right? Which is also our March highs to our August lows. That's the 618 there, right into that zone we just looked at. You also have your 21 week right here in the yellow. Unlikely we're going to close under the 21 week in phase 3 of a bull run. It's just not typically how it's going to work. If your coins do that, right, that's a big warning sign. But we're well away from that at this point. And even if we go down to that $16 level, right, with the target of the head and shoulders on the daily, it would very likely be a wick on the weekly. So, that's an additional over 25% move to the downside. Unlikely, right? Especially the fact that we're just at 30, right? That would be over 40% drawdown on, a multi-billion-dollar asset, $13 billion. Quite frankly, it's just unlikely where we are. So if you're worried about the daily, just zoom out, right? And we're going to actually look at a bigger picture here in just a minute. But facts are the facts. We're above all moving averages. We're at previous high zone, hopefully now previous new low zone, right? Holding there. So if we're going to go to 16, guess what? We're probably going to close below the EMA 8 first, which is right now, this week, $20.87. So as long as we're continuously, and let's also note, we've been here every week for the past 5 weeks here, right? Here, yes, 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 and yes. Nothing abnormal here yet. If we close under the EMA 8, okay, then we can start to say, okay, maybe that daily chart is going to play out. Maybe we have to go back down to 16 before we can do our next moonshot. And, hello, like we were quite bullish here, right? So we could easily just bounce and hold and go our next target as the 1618 at $43. We also have our macro 786 at 31 over here. So this is still on the cards and the most likely scenario with the given chart in front of you. Now, if we close into the EMA 8, okay, so maybe we have to go down a little bit more. In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter if we bounce here or the 21 week? I mean, look at we're barely moving our arrow here, folks, okay? So worst case scenario, like we go down and tag the EMA 21 for another few weeks before we get really rolling. All right, and our next high time frame, right? We have our 2 macro targets, which are great. And our first one, the 786, was really just tagged, right? We just kind of hit right off of that, just shy of the 786 on this high move. So really our next target we're even remotely worried about is with a 4 in front, right? All right, so we're looking for 43 next on our next move up. Could easily happen this week. Could take a couple more weeks. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And let's go out and look at an even bigger picture, right? Look at this candle here. You might think that's bearish. No, that's an inverted hammer and often leads to bullish continuation is what that would be. The green, right? Good spot to continue follow through. Whether or not we have to go back down and test a little bit more, maybe we go back down to that 618 again, with a wick, or maybe we go down to the EMA 8. It doesn't matter. And the macro, like look at the macro, look at this setup. This is really good for a massive move. 66% on this month back in November. If we did that again in January or February, like who cares, right? 60% gets us, right back out to all-time highs again, right? That would be basically our second highest candle close ever, right? We get up in this area. So let's get back out of here, right? Why did we reject off of $30? The 786, right? We've only closed a couple of candles ever above there. Of course, that's a significant area. Once we break it, guess what comes next? A significant breakout. We have 2 targets, our high of 52, our 1618 median target of 43. Then you have your big targets here, 123, the 2618, the 1618 on the macro is 230. Is that still possible? It's still possible. We haven't started alt season yet. We don't know what Chainlink's going to do when alt season starts. Now, if alt season starts in, let's say a couple weeks or even February, and Chainlink has a 60% or a 50% breakout candle, of course, those higher time frame targets are still on the table. $100, of course, is still easily obtainable by Chainlink. If you doubt the Chainlink moves, right, just go back and look at this cycle, right? I mean, these are stellar moves. And once it goes, it can go. It's look how long. It's much more methodical this time around, and which it's going to be, right, with $13 billion here versus the market cap of much less back in that first cycle. That's just the way it works, right? So we're at a critical level. If you're wondering, like, why is Chainlink taking so long? What would you expect from something at a significant level as this? There's only been a handful of candles closed above here ever. Once it happens, it's going to be big. It's starting to right now. I mean, look at the monthly. It's off to a great start already. 11% up. Doesn't matter if it goes all the way back down to 17 at the end of January and we start out February down here. Even bigger, right? Because once we break out of this zone, it's likely going to be a pretty big move. And we're looking at, 40, 50, 60%. Could be this month, could be next month. We could go down. Short term, who cares, right? We're watching for Link for the macro, and we're, not sleeping until $100, right? All right. Any questions, thoughts, comments on this? Let me know. What do you want to see more of? All right. Quote and card of the day. People free to choose will always choose peace by Ronald Reagan. I feel like this might be a little bit outdated. Have you met the internet in 2024? Okay. This is what we're going to need for our supercar. We're going to need this for our bags within the next year, folks. We got to start loading up. There's nothing, we can't fit our bags, our crypto bags in no McLaren. We might need this in the garage as well. The G-Wagon, G63 to be more specific. G63 AMG, accept no substitutes. That's not their slogan, but I just made it. All right. Okay. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching this long. If you want more help, again, join our Patreon group to get your ass out of this cycle safely and to not be left holding yet again.